All right, if f of 1 is equal to 10 and f of n is equal to negative 4 f of n minus 1, then can we find the value of f of 5? Of course we can, but there's going to be a lot of confusion, a lot of mistakes that happen along the way. One of the big mistakes, let's just see what we get when we plug a 5 in for n, right? F of n, so f of 5. Typically we just plug the 5 in, work it out, and we get what we want. So f of 5 would have to be equal to negative 4 times f of n minus 1. Well, we're replacing the n with a 5, so we're going to replace this n as well with a 5 minus a 1. And what that's going to give me is f of 4. This is a problem because who knows what f of 4 is? If I knew what f of 4 was, I could just multiply it by negative 4 and I'd have my solution. But I don't know what f of 4 is because the only information we were provided with was f of 1 is equal to 10. So how do we go about this? Well, you kind of got to start back at the beginning from f of 1, then you got to figure out what f of 2 is, and you got to figure out what f of 3 and f of 4, and eventually you can get to 5. That's why I'm not a huge fan of them. They're just kind of a lot of repeating of the same skill over and over again, but I'll show you how to do it. So like I was saying, we want to break it down like this. We're going to find f of 2, then we'll find f of 3, then we'll find f of 4, which will allow us to figure out what f of 5 is. So if I'm plugging in f of 2, right, f of n is negative 4 times f of n minus 1. So I'm just going to replace the n, f of n, with a 2, 2 minus 1. Now watch what happens here. 2 minus 1 is going to give me a 1. This is kind of cool, I will admit that. So f of 1 was given to us, so we're going to steal. We're going to use that information right there, and we're going to change it to a 10. So we now are saying f of 1 is really just worth 10, so we're taking negative 4 times 10, which gives me negative 40. Great, because now I have a number for f of 2. We now know f of 2 is equal to negative 40, and when we go to work out f of 3, we're going to need f of 2. So I go over here, I say f of 3 is negative 4 times f of n minus 3, but I'm going to change the n to a 3. Negative 4 times f of 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 gives me, you guessed it, f of 2. Well, we just figured out what f of 2 was. It's negative 40, so we're going to use negative 40 in place of that f of 2. We're going to be multiplying that by negative 4, and that's going to give me f of 3's value of 160. Positive, because negative times a negative makes a positive. Now that we know f of 3 is 160, we're going to be using it to find f of 4. Remember, f of 4 is negative 4 times f of n minus 1, but our n in this case is a 4. 4 minus 1 makes a 3. So remember, we just found f of 3 is 160. So now we're taking 160, multiplying it by our negative 4, giving me negative 640. So f of 4 equals negative 640. Now I'm going to take that negative 640 when finding f of 5, work that out, and life is good. So we've got f of 5 is going to be negative 4 times f of 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 makes a 4. We know f of 4 is negative 640. So I'm going to put negative 640 times negative 4. Just give me a second to process this one out. Positive 2,560 for f of 5. And that right there is how you would do it. So you're given a value for an earlier on section of your geometric sequence, right? Then you're being asked to find f of n, which could be any value. They give you what to use, and then they're going to tell you to find it after a certain number of sequences. So in this case, it was 5. So we used what we had at the beginning, the first part. Then we found the second, moved on to the third, moved on to the fourth term, and finally got to our fifth term. Okay, so a lot of just repeated skills, right? You're just doing the same thing over and over again. But you are going to have a common ratio like we have in this one. Our common ratio is negative 4. So if you look at our numbers, negative 40, positive 160, negative 640, positive 2,560. There sure seems to be something in common. It's like every time we just multiply by -4. So hopefully this makes sense. Study hard and good luck on your upcoming test.